Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 6, Tsumihoroboshi. So last time, Rena finds out that Rina, named or really named Ritsuko, Mamiya, right, was actually using her father. What do you call what did it say last time? Badger wedding, something like that. I forgot what's it called. But yeah, she's one of Teppei Hojo's or Teppei Hojo's mistress, right? And they're pretty much just scamming him, right? So I can't wait to see what happens today. Will Rena confront her? And this is gonna be really interesting, right? So let's go. Let's do it. Continue. Tsumihoroboshi. I need to practice saying that. Tsumihoroboshi.
ああ、そりゃ多分葛西さんだね。シオンの監視役だよ。監視役なの？
Shion's watchdog.
まあね。シオンのやつ、私と比べると突拍子もないことをするからさ。監視役が必要なわけよ。
ミオンもシオンもその意味においちゃ互角だと思うぞ。
Keiichi-kun cut into the conversation. They ended up making a lot of noise, teasing each other like they always do. Mion made it sound like that man Kasa is some sort of territory boss in Okinomiya. It wouldn't be easy for me to meet him in person. But because she's Shi-chan's watchdog, I might be able to find a way. The problem though is that I don't have any connections to Shi-chan either. We hang around once in a while whenever she comes to Hinamizawa, but I've never called or visited her. I have no idea how can we meet. Even if I could meet Kasai-san, there's no guarantee that he'd help me. He seems like the kind of person who doesn't like to gossip about others. He told me about Rina-san at the coffee house only because Shi-chan pushed him to. Plus, the situation could grow worse very quickly, so while I waited for the chance to meet him, so any help he might offer could come too late. I remember Kasai-san told me that, as her next step, Rina-san usually uses her partner to threaten their catch. That would signify the end of her performance. They were going to take all of my father's money. So I wasn't feeling a sense of crisis yet, but at the time, might be coming very soon. Even as I was at school taking class peacefully, then man might already be at the house right now, threatening my father to hand over his bank books. Once I become anxious, I get more and more anxious, and I could feel a big pressure on my chest as if the ceiling had collapsed on me.
いやー、平和すぎて退屈だぜ。
Keiichi-kun talks to me yawning.
そうかな。レナは平和で退屈なの大好きだよ。
俺はごめんだね。せめて火星人が襲来するくらいのことが毎週とは言わないまでにも月末くらいには欲しいところだぜ。あ、定期テストはなしでだぜ。
もし本当に火星人が攻めてきて世界中が滅ぼされてひなみ沢も焼け野原になったらケイチ君は退屈が紛れて満足かな。
Aliens?
かな。
いや、そこまでは言ってねえよ。何かアクシデントの一つもないと退屈で溶けちまいそうだぜって言いたかっただけだぜ。
He had no idea of what I've been going through, of course, and that's why he says that. But I was still irritated by his insensitivity. I couldn't understand why he wouldn't be satisfied with such a peaceful life. He never has a doubt that today and tomorrow will be as fun as yesterday. I was all too aware that boring and peaceful days could be destroyed all of a sudden. I knew, because your mom wanted to divorce your dad. I knew that you could feel like you didn't belong anywhere in your house because your dad had gotten a new girlfriend. Even so, you had to repeat the same kind of day over and over again. That's why I want to live every day happily in order to be prepared when the world comes to its end.
レナは日々が幸せそうでいいよな。そういうのもスキルなのかな。ちょっと羨ましいぜ。
そんなの羨ましがられても困るな。
日々を退屈でなく幸せに過ごすのって何かコツでもあるのか？あるなら教えてくれよ。俺も得得してみたいぜ。
そんなの簡単だよ。気づくだけだもん。
気づくって？
There's no way he could realize it. And it was probably better that he didn't because that meant he was truly happy.
気づくだけだよ。幸せな日々が有限であることに。
Honestly? Okay, let's see this first. Okay, Mia. No, but their conversations there here, like, oh, the end of the world or something like that. Is it gonna be the same as the ending we had in Tataragoroshi here? Like, will everyone die? Like the tragedy there, right? Maybe. Let's see. The three of us walked home from school like we always did. Michan said goodbye to us at the corner of the street where she took her separate way home and she walked away waving, but I chased after her.
みーちゃん。ん？何？
Michan apparently thought she dropped something and she looked around to see what she dropped.
忘れるところだった。実はね、昨日喫茶店でしーちゃんと笠井さんに会ったの。その時にね、笠井さんの落とし物を拾ったの。
Of course, he hadn't dropped anything. I was lying. If I could meet him, I'd just show him whatever. Tell him I thought it was his and apologize for my mistake.
へえ、あ、そう。それありがとう。届けとくよ。
それでね、レナが直接返したいの。
Michan looked surprised. I couldn't blame her. I'd met him only once. It's weird to want to give something back in person to someone you barely know.
まあ、そりゃ構わないけど、なんでまた。
サングラスにおひげがね。
Cute beard and cute sunglasses. Okay, Rena.
ちょっぴり可愛かったの。
Okay.
はう。
Could I fudge my true intentions with my cute mode? I tried it anyway. Michan usually takes words at their face value, and indeed she seemed to buy it. Okay.
口ひげを引っこ抜いてお持ち帰りしちゃダメだよ。
で、どうかな？会えるかな？
忙しいのか暇なのか、全然見当つかない人だからね。今度、ひなみ沢に来る用事がないか聞いておくよ。
I need to know when as soon as possible. Of course, I wasn't going to say I wanted to meet him today, but at least, tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
なんだよ、お前ら何やってんだ？
レナがね、新しい恋に目覚めちゃったんだってさ。
違うよ。
なんだそりゃ、面白そうな話だな。 俺も混ぜろ混ぜろ。
I didn't want her to leave it up in the air, so I told her I think I should give it back to him as soon as possible, so I'm sure he's looking for it too. Then Mi-chan said okay twice and walked away waving. I hadn't yet thought about how I was gonna ask for help when I would meet him. He seems to be in a higher position than Rina-san and her partner. If he agreed to help me, it would be very encouraging. Honestly, you should just ask Mion, right? She's your friend, she's gonna help you though. Like if you tell her, like the situation, but yeah, Rena doesn't want to. But there was a possibility that he'd tell me he didn't want to interfere in other people's private matters. So he could just say that the whole thing was another love triangle between the father, his daughter, and his lover.
じゃあな、レナ。また明日な。
また明日ね。
I said goodbye to Keiichi-kun and walked home alone. After Keiichi-kun was gone, everything went quiet and my head became clear. What I needed at the moment was quiet time to think about what I should do from then on. I shouldn't depend on Kasai-san to solve my problem. He'd most likely decline my request, so I'll have to think about some alternatives. It's probably better than I just do that. A love triangle between a father, his daughter, and his lover. Those words bothered me because I've seen an unhappy triangle like that before. That sort of thing had happened to Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun experienced it last year. He fought for his sister in a triangle with his aunt. It was the same situation as mine, so I'm trying to fight to protect my father. So yeah, she talked with Satoshi last time, right? On the 5th chapter, but we didn't see it. She just said it to Shion. Satoshi-kun fought alone. Nobody helped him. All I did for him was give him my sympathy and compassion. I didn't think I could do anything more than that. I felt sorry for him, but I didn't really help him out. Irresponsibly, I tried to cheer him up and probably told him something that I thought would make him feel better, but that hurt him instead. I recently realized how much I hurt him with my insensitivity because Keiichi just hurt me the same way. I'm going down the same path as Satoshi-kun went last year. I feel like I'm experiencing deja vu. An unusual repetition. Would that mean that I'd be the one who gets demoned away this year? I should be okay though. I wasn't thinking about running away from Hinamizawa. Was I? I wasn't thinking about running away from Hinamizawa, but I thought about running away from my home many times. That's why I made the place I could escape to in the garbage dump. The dump happened to be in Hinamizawa, but what if it wasn't? Running there would be the same thing as running away from Hinamizawa. I shouldn't think like that. Oyashiro-sama will get mad at me. And Oyashiro-sama is really scary. Jesus, the lights. I saw flickering lights in my head. Oh no, every time I tried to remember that time, my mind would stop working properly. I remember the vivid colors of my psychoactive drugs. The flickering lights and clouds started spreading in my head. They were so bright and annoying. Don't try too hard to remember. Don't try too hard to remember. I couldn't stop the flickering lights in my head. I couldn't have the feeling. I had to fill my heart with another feeling. Yeah, there was no time for these crazy flickering lights in my head. I had to think about what I should do when Kasai-san declined my request for help. I had to protect my father from Rina-san and that bad man. Wait, why was I still calling her that? Rina is Rina. Rina. She's a bad person. who deceived my father and tried to bring us unhappiness. Bad people bring bad things into the world without even doing anything. They're different from the other 90% of people who aren't bad. If you let them loose, they'll even ruin the people around them. When you have one bad tangerine in the box, it spreads its fungus to the other tangerines around it. That's what bad people are like. I couldn't remember how Satoshi couldn't resolve his triangle last year, but I could still see the flickering lights in my head. They're still flickering. Flickering, flickering, and flickering. They're still flickering. Just as the swirl of the flickering lights were making me dizzy, I saw my house. I also saw Rina-san's scooter parked by the side of the gate. The moment I saw the bike, the flickering lights disappeared and I regained control of myself. Rina-san spent the night last night. She told me she had to work today in the evening, so she would be leaving soon. But I didn't want to be around here or around her, even for a little while until she left. I said, "I'm home," real loud, rushed into the house, pretended that my friends were waiting outside, and rushed out of the house. But Rina-san stopped me.
あら、おかえり、レイナちゃん。
Don't call her Rena. She doesn't like that.
あ、こんにちは。
This was the first time I thought Rina-san's smile was ugly. I only stood to reason. I had realized the scheme she was hiding behind the smile.
今日ね、お父さんと一緒にお昼は5グラまで行ってきたのよ。キーマカレーがとっても美味しいお店でね。
My father poked his head out of the living room and he says, "I want to go there again next time. I really like that curry." I wondered if he meant with me next time or with me and her. Anyway, I hate it when Rina-san says your father.
それで、レトルトをお土産に買ってきたの。後でぜひ食べてみてね。美味しいから。レイナちゃんはこのお店知ってる？
I didn't know that restaurant she was talking about. I saw it in a magazine. It's a new restaurant that just opened recently. I also remembered that it wasn't an expensive restaurant. The amount of money they spent on the take-home curry alone must have been enough to cover the cost of all our dinners for several nights. Since I was aware of what was in the bank books, it was hard for me to stay calm.
それは楽しみです。ありがとうございますね、リナさん。
Rina-san.
それでね、レイナちゃん。ちょっとみんなでお話があるんだけど。
ごめんなさい。ちょっと友達を待たせてるんで出かけますね。またゴミ捨て場で宝探しなの。
レイナちゃんは宝探しが好きね。私も今度行ってみようかしら。
ではすみません。失礼します。
Every time Rina-san moved her arms or head, the scent of her perfume struck my nostrils. I hate the smell of her perfume, so I couldn't stay here or there any longer. So I rushed out of the house and started running to get away from her perfume. The rubber band inside me, the one called Rena, was stretched all the way to its limit. I'm pretty sure I'd explode and go crazy if that rubber band broke. I didn't want to feel like that inside my own house. So my house was supposed to be the place where I could open my heart freely. I ran away. I ran away from there. I ran farther and farther away from there because it was no longer a place I belonged. It's not that I had a destination in mind. I was just running away. I was running to escape to a place where I did belong. I didn't decide to fight against that woman, or didn't I decide to fight against that woman? Didn't I decide to fight against her either by myself or with my father? But then, once I saw her fake smile, a chill ran up my back. It was like I picked up a stone, found a carpet of bugs underneath it, and put it back on the ground in a hurry. I rushed out of the house as fast as I could. Did I want to fight or did I want to run away? Was I just choosing to spend a peaceful time at my hideout, believing that tomorrow would be the same as today? I couldn't do that. I didn't know when they'd spring their trap. I couldn't afford to waste any time, so I knew that deep down. I knew that, but I just wanted to run away. I couldn't stop myself from running away. And so, I did run away. At times like this, the mattress in my hideout would feel soft. That I knew. The cries of the Higurashi were soothing to the ears. They sounded as soft as my mattress. They were like music. They didn't force any feelings upon me. They cried as if to tell me just who I am. It was always so quiet here that I immediately noticed the purr of an engine coming closer. People used to come here and make a lot of noise during the dam conflict, but now nobody really comes here, so this is a place forgotten. So it was rare to see somebody come through here at all. I sat on the roof of an abandoned car and waited for the intruder to go away without looking their way. But the purr of the engine stopped. I'm not stupid. I knew exactly who it had to be. Ooh, it's Rena. I heard a person calling me, but I ignored it once. The person came closer, making it harder for me to ignore her, and then she called my name again. I turned around this time.
リナさん。
レイナちゃん、結構耳遠い方？
Rena was like, "Stop calling me Rena. I hate that."
すみません。多分逆風だったんで聞こえにくかったんだと思います。
She seemed to buy my poor excuse. She smiled and said, "Yeah, it happens sometimes."
一人？お友達は？
一人で遊んでますよ。
ふーん。その年でなかなか渋いわね。
Rena stretched and looked across the huge garbage dump.
しかし、よくもこれだけ盛大にスクラップばっか捨てたもんよね。知ってる？昔、平坂の2丁目にもタイヤの外れた車ばっかり積んであるところがあってね。
I wasn't interested in Rina-san's old story, but I pretended to listen and nodded. She doesn't take this road to go back to Okinomiya. I guess she knew I'd be here and came by to see me. What did she want? It was obvious that she was trying to make a conversation. She probably took it personally when I avoided her earlier, which must be why she was here to butter me up. It would be better for her not to have any conflicts with the daughter of the man she's seeing, no matter what the intention of seeing him is. In that sense, it was a reasonable action for her to take. While I listened to her old story, all I could think about was when she was going to leave. Didn't I have to fight against her? Didn't I decide to fight against her? Didn't I find out her plot at the coffee house in Okinomiya? Didn't I find out that this woman is squeezing money out of my father's when I looked inside his cash box? I know who you are. Please leave my father. How easy it would be if those two sentences could solve the problem. She'd probably deny it. Even if I told her about what I heard at the coffee house, I have no evidence of her plot. If she said she did it because the vulgar man was threatening her, there would be nothing I could do. But I know this woman is a bad person. I know something horrible will happen in the near future if I waste time like this. It's a strange, tense feeling started coming over me. But I didn't know how to let it go. As the feeling started running high, I became unable to stand the smell of her perfume. I wanted to put a certain distance between me and her, so I climbed down the slope of the scrap heap. I kept going down and down. Down the slopes of the garbage dump. When I turned around, I saw her coming down as well, muttering. Was she following me? In order to run away from her, I started running down the slope all the way to the bottom, went around behind some trash piles, and arrived at the front of my hideout. My escape was meaningless. Not only was she going to catch up with me eventually, all I did was let her know the way to my hideout that nobody's supposed to know about. I wanted to make sure she never saw my precious hideout. I was about to leave, but then she appeared.
へえ。ちょっと素敵よね。秘密基地みたい。
私だけの秘密の隠れ家なんですよ。ここには誰も来ないし、誰にも何も聞こえません。
I felt strange hearing myself say that.
レイナちゃんだけの秘密の隠れ家嬉しいわね。そんな場所に連れてきてもらえるなんて。
She must have thought I told her a secret or my secret because she was worth sharing it with. She looked very happy. She found the station wagon, looked inside of it through the window, and then went all ooh and ah excitedly. This is a secret place that nobody else knows. I felt like my consciousness was separating from my body, like I was floating. Oh my god, it's distorting now her words. But it didn't feel good. Like when I drink amazake, it was more like being carsick. I felt like I was going to throw up. My brain was probably secreting some chemical in order to avoid facing the reality that I'd have to stay with this woman, that I couldn't run away from her. But even if my brain tried to avoid recognizing it, the reality in front of me wouldn't change.
そうそう。ねえ、レイナちゃん。
なんでしょう。
どうしたの？気分悪いの？
いえ、平気です。
I inhaled fresh air and pulled my consciousness back to reality. I didn't feel like throwing up anymore, but I still felt off balance, so I leaned onto a scrap of garbage to keep my balance.
私はレイナちゃんのこと好きよ。レイナちゃんは私のこと好き？
Yeah, just say yes, Rena. Pretend.
何ですか突然。
I said that because I didn't want to say that I like her.
私ね、ずっとあなたのお父さんとお付き合いをしているんだけど、いろいろと話し合ってね。
I needed to stop feeling like this, so get up, Rena. I'd heard something like this before. A part of me was trying to understand what this woman was trying to say, but another part of me was trying not to. I felt as if her words were bouncing around in my head, and I started having a headache.
それでね、これからのことを真剣に話し合ったのよ。これからの生活やいろいろよ。
What?
レイナも秋人おじさんのこと好きでしょ？
She's gonna snap now because yeah, she's remembering the talk with her mom back then.
それでね、お母さん、
What's going on? Mother? What are you thinking about, Rena Ryugu? This is an important moment. You're about to have a one-on-one battle with Rina-san. No, Mom. What about my dad? What about me? I don't want you to divorce him. I don't want you to get remarried to somebody else. No, please don't divorce him. I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm not gonna let you get remarried.
再婚なんて許さないです。
え？
お父さんとどういう付き合い方をしたって構いませんが、再婚なんて許さないです。
She must have not thought that I'd say it straight out like that. She looked stunned. After a while, she broke the silence with her laughter.
拒絶もあるかなとは思ってたけど、ここまではっきり言われるとは思わなかったもんだから。
拒絶もあるかなと思っていました。私が拒絶していたのに気づいていたのは意外でした。
そんなのわかるでしょ。あんた、私と目を合わせるとすぐ逃げるもん。
You look at her eyes, it's changing.
それで分かってないなんて思ってた？子供は嫌ね。
She frowned, revealing her ugly self. It should have been the first time I saw her face like that, but I wasn't surprised at all. Her face had looked like that to me from the beginning.
できれば上辺だけでもあんたとは仲良くしてたかったんだけど、ここまで嫌われちゃ難しいわね。私のどこが気に入んないの？高額のために教えてよ。
最初っから全部。匂いも嫌い。
I hate your smell too. One vicious word came out of my mouth after another. I didn't have wings, but I felt as if I was flying up to the sky. I felt weird and uncomfortable, but also exhilarated. I felt as if I was letting another me use my body. I was in the middle of a disastrous battlefield, but I felt like it wasn't even my business.
そりゃあ好都合ね。私もあんたのこと嫌いだったから、お互い様よね。なめんなクソガキ。ガタガタ言わされてえか。
二度と家へ来ないでください。再婚なんて私が絶対に許さない。
別にあんたに許してもらわなくてもいいんだけど。まあ、あんたがうまく立ち回ってお父さんに再婚を断念させたきゃさせてごらんって。そんなの今さら意味ないし。
She didn't look intimidated by me at all and made me feel a little intimidated in return. Why was she so confident of her absolute control over my father? She had to have more than confidence to be able to act as fearless as this. She must have something tangible. Before I asked her what it was, she told me herself.
私ね、プロポーズされたの。
She's pregnant, just like the mom.
嘘だ。
嘘じゃないわよ。 本当よ。
It's a lie. It's a big lie. She has to divorce because she got pregnant. She has to get married because she got pregnant. All of it is a lie.
向こうからのお願いだから聞かないわけにもいかないしね。指輪ももらっちゃったし、それに結婚を前提のお付き合いだったわけだしね。指輪まで送っておいて今さらちゃぶ台返しなんてことになると最近は問題が多いわよね。
それが最初から目的のくせに。私は聞いてるんだ。お前と鉄という男が二人で喫茶店で話しているところを聞いてるんだ。お父さんのお金を目当てに近づいたのを知っている。ひなみ沢の旦那と呼んで詐欺にかけようとしていることを知ってる。葛西さんに聞いたから全部知ってるんだ。詐欺師だってことも全部知ってるんだ。
あら、全部知ってるんだ。あららららららん。
Before I knew it, Rena was standing right in front of me. We glared at each other with our faces almost touching.
で、
Based so?
レイナちゃんはそこまで知っててどうしようってわけ？
お父さんに二度と近づかないでください。
嫌よって言ったらこんな秘密の隠れ家に誘ってくれての話だからね。そういうお話かなとは思ってたのよ。だってここ秘密の隠れ家なんでしょ。誰も知らなくて誰にも何も聞こえない秘密の場所なんでしょ。
ええ、そうですよ。誰も知らなくて誰にも何も聞こえない、誰も訪れることのない忘れられた場所。
Our faces were so close to each other that our noses could almost touch. I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't know what would happen next. I couldn't back down now that I'd come to this point, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I should do.
いやだ、何をマジになってんだかね。ほらほら、仲直り。
Rena started laughing and slapped me on the back. My expression didn't change and I kept staring at Rena, but I didn't notice her real intention of putting both her arms around my neck. The tension broke, already stretched thin, and Rena squeezed my neck hard. I was openly hostile, but I didn't realize Rena's evil intentions until she started choking me.
子供のくせに舐めやがってよ。もうちょいでうん千万って金が転がるんだよ。
Dude, yeah, when Rena kills her, you could say that this is self-defense though. She's actually choking her right now.
上辺だけでも仲良しってことになってりゃ小遣いの少しもやろうって思ってたのにな。
Problem is, no one is here, so you can't really... it's hard to say, right?
口ばっかり滑らしか。うんだらねえとこでまだるっこし。死にさらせやこら。
I tried to pry my hands off my neck, or her hands, I mean, but I didn't have the strength to do so.
殺しはしたかなかったんだけどね。二度とこんなうまいかもにゃ会えないだろうしさ。てめえ閉めてうん千万なら悪くはないさね。どうせ巻き上げたら蒸発するつもりだったしさ。上等くれたらこの野郎。
The world around me got darker and darker. I had never known an evil intention like this, namely the intention to kill me. It didn't scare me though. That's because being scared is a feeling that people use to express how they feel when they see wildfire on the other side of the river. People on the island with a wildfire with their deaths right in front of them, they don't get scared. If I loosened my grip on her hands even a little bit, she'd crush my throat. So this was a simple competition to see who was stronger. Rena wanted to get into the most advantageous position, so she tried to push me down to the ground so that she could mount on me. If I let her do that, I wouldn't stand a chance. So I tried to keep my current position, but I was losing a lot of energy by being choked. So it was only a matter of time before Rena could push me down. So I lost my balance on purpose. I tried to fall backwards in order to put her off balance. I couldn't hold my breath long enough to keep up the strength competition. So I had no choice but to take that chance. We fell on the ground, tangled together. But as Rena was strongly determined to kill me, she didn't even take her hands away from my neck after she fell. However, my action made Rena loosen her grip on my throat. It wasn't loose enough for me to break free from her grip, but it gave me a few moments to use my hands for something other than stopping her from crushing my throat. If I hadn't taken that chance, I would have been done for. That's why I tried to literally seize my chance. I moved both of my hands on the ground to seize that chance. I felt a piece of broken glass on my right hand. That was truly my chance to literally save myself from the brink of death. I cut Rena's wrist deep with a piece of glass. Rena tried to endure the pain for a few seconds. But the pain was severe from someone so cornered, soon broke her will. She let go of my throat to cling to her bloody wrist. I used that moment to roll away from her. She screamed, both in pain and also to try and intimidate me again. It didn't work anymore though. Intimidation only works on the opponent when the opponent is hesitant to fight. When you're already in a fight, screaming like that means nothing more than letting the opponent know how badly you're hurt. True. I no longer had any hesitation. I had learned from Rena. She taught me what I have to do in a situation like this. That's right, this is my secret hideout. I know every single piece of junk in here. Maybe I knew that day like this was coming? Was it just a coincidence that it was there? Is she talking about her hatchet? I had pulled out a meter-long lead pipe. Okay, a lead pipe. I thought it was a hatchet. Not at all surprised to see it was there. I raised it up and brought it back down. There was no way Rena could block this hard and heavy lead pipe with just her arms. She'd probably tried to block it with the palms of her hands in order to take it from me. But her long nails wouldn't let that happen. Unable to catch it the way she wanted, she broke her fingers and some of her nails came off too. Her scream made me realize that I had the advantage. An advantage I would have to keep. If I didn't, she'd turn the tables just like I did, and then she'd choke me to death for sure. Rena shielded her head with her arms, but it didn't help. All that would change is that I'd break her arms before I broke her face. I am serious too. Yeah, that's right. I should have done this a long time ago. I didn't need proof. I didn't have to talk to anybody. That's stupid. That's nonsense. I should have done this a long time ago. If I had done it a long time ago, my father wouldn't have been deceived. I could have protected him. I could have protected my family. I could have protected my life. I could have been myself. My mother wouldn't have divorced my father. I could have stayed happy. I wouldn't have had to be unhappy. I'm going to recapture my happiness. At this moment, I'm going to win back my happiness. I'm not gonna cry for misfortune. I'm not gonna give into fate of unhappiness. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to seize my happiness. Right now. With my own 2 hands. Rena tried to run away from me. She's still alive. But as she no longer had the use of her hands, it made it difficult for her to stand up to escape, especially since there were scraps of junk everywhere on the ground. After all, this is my hideout. This is my territory. Nobody can run away from me here. She tried to climb the slope of the garbage, slipped, fell, and rolled all the way back down. She didn't stand up or move. Her eyes were open and her neck was bent at an unnatural angle. I didn't know how to make sure she was dead, so I kept looking at her opened eyes for a while. She could be faking it for all I know, but she didn't close her eyes no matter how long I waited. I scooped up a handful of sand and threw it threw it on her face. She still didn't close her eyes. She's definitely dead. She broke her neck. The lead pipe slipped out of my hand and hit the ground. When I tried to pick it up, I realized how heavy it was, and I was surprised that I was wielding it, as though it was a knife. I was sweating all over. The cold wind felt good on my skin. The cries of the Higurashi were calming me down and healing my soul. Rena was just like a broken dummy now. She had become a piece of junk. I am the owner of this land of junk, and I've defended it from her intrusion. Now she was a resident of this junkyard. I didn't feel bad about killing her. In fact, I rather fulfilled that I defeated the evil woman who had deceived my father. I started breathing slowly and calmly, and I regained enough energy to analyze the situation. I'd have to hide her body. First, I had to get rid of her scooter. I climbed up the slope and kicked her scooter down the hill. I rolled down the slope, making a lot of noise, and blended in with all the junk as it stopped, like it was there from the beginning. I went back down the slope and started dragging her body to my hideout. It should have taken as much effort as dragging a 50-kilogram sandbag, but it felt lighter than that. It was just a sandbag, yet it brought disaster to my family. I didn't lure her here in order to kill her. Or did I? Maybe I just didn't notice that I had that intention deep down in my heart. But even so, I felt like this was the best and most expedient solution. There was no better solution than killing her. I mean, she was the one who attacked though. But this was gonna happen eventually, right? But yeah, Rena was the one who tried to choke Rena, so it happened there, I mean. But if Rena didn't do that, Rena was gonna eventually kill her, sooner rather than later, right? How wasteful to depend on someone to help me, so to wait for the day to come when they will. I remember the murder of Satoshi-kun's aunt that happened last year. I had no doubt that Satoshi-kun murdered her. But I've never seen or never been as convinced as I am right at this moment. How could he have saved Sateko-chan? Other than by killing his aunt last year at that time in that circumstance. So my situation was pretty much the same as his. How could I save my father other than by killing her? If I was planning a murder, I would have been under a lot of pressure and stress. But for better or for worse, the moment came to me out of nowhere. That's why I believe my problem with as little or trouble as possible, or I solve my problem with as little trouble as possible. Now that she's gone, will anyone become suspicious about her disappearance? The only one who's gonna be suspicious is only 2 people. Teppei and her dad, yes. She was an irresponsible person who skipped work at her own convenience. So I didn't think anybody would get suspicious when she disappeared one day. She was a big mess from the start. People will think she went into hiding because she got into deep trouble with someone. I didn't need to fabricate an alibi. All I needed to do was get rid of her body. It took me a while to figure out how to do the last part. Hiding her body would be very, very risky. But my brain had become so calm that it had some calculations and it came up with an answer right away. Yes, this place is the safest. This is a place of forgotten. Yeah, no one comes here though, so... Correct. Nobody comes here. Nobody knows this place is here. I knew that because I'd been spending a lot of time here. Compared to taking the risk of carrying her body to some other place, it was a lot safer to just hide it here. But it wasn't perfect yet. This place wouldn't remain a secret forever. I could hide it here for now, but I'd have to come up with a perfect way to make it completely disappear. It's a lot easier to think about than thinking about how to make Rena break up with my father. So I stuffed her corpse into a broken refrigerator in a trash pile. I wanted to cover the refrigerator with dirt and bury it, but that was too easy. I had to chop the corpse into pieces and make them completely disappear. Ugh. I felt like it got dark all of a sudden. No, it didn't get dark all of a sudden. I just didn't realize. It was getting dark until just then because she's super focused on the body. She's not thinking about the surroundings anymore. I could hear thunder from a distance, so it might rain soon. I could use some rain. I'd wash Rena's dirty blood into the ground. But I should go home. I should think about what I'd do tomorrow. I was going to stay right beside my father until he forgets about her. He might be hurt at first, but we're going to recapture our happiness for sure. Our happy, peaceful life. My body was heavy with exhaustion, but I also felt fulfilled because I took a very important first step today. I'll keep taking one step after another. I'm not gonna cry anymore. I'm not gonna cry until I win back my happiness. I'm not gonna cry again. Dude, I didn't expect to actually fight already, right?
再
Instantly,
婚
I
なん
mean.
かする必要ないよ。
Like we just saw it last time, right? That it got revealed that Rena is a scammer basically, right? And then next episode, she's gone, she's dead. That was the first thing I said after I got home, and my father looked stunned. He noticed a sad tone in my voice, and realizing that I didn't agree with the idea of his remarriage, he looked down.
無理もないよな。レイナの気持ちもわかるよ。事前にレイナにもよく相談。
プロポーズなんて取り消せばいい。あんな女。
あんな女なんて言い方しちゃダメだ。リナさんは。
本当のことを話す。
She's not gonna tell her dad that she killed him, or killed her, I mean.
あの女と鉄という男は二人組の悪人。我が家の財産を狙ってお父さんに近づいてきただけ。
My father didn't get it right away, of course. He looked upset instead because I called her that woman. I should have chosen my words a little more carefully, but I think I told him the truth clearly enough. I told him everything I heard and saw at the coffee house. As I expected, he defended Rina anyway. I was upset, but at the same time, it made me certain that there was no other way than to kill her. I felt the pressure on my shoulders lessen for some reason. Then my father thought he needed my approval for his remarriage, so he held back his anger and put a fake smile on his face and said,
なあ、レイナ。もう一度ゆっくりとお父さんたちと話し合おう。そうすればきっと分かってくれるから。
A tamed animal is still tamed even after the owner is dead. That's okay. I'll open the gate anyway. Even a tamed animal will notice one day that he is no longer in captivity. That's not something that I could teach him. He had to realize it on his own. I couldn't stand his fake smile anymore, so I left the living room. Time healed the pain from the divorce. Time heals any kind of pain, just like how dripping water will eventually bore a hole through a solid rock. I did what I could. Now I'd have to wait. But the day I was going to wait for came earlier than expected. What? At midnight of the following day, we had a visitor. Okay, so we skip a little time skip here. One day, I mean. It was that Techan man. So he is looking for Rina. Teppei Hojo. Didn't even knock on the door to get in. He broke into the house by smashing the window. At first, he came here to ask about Rina's whereabouts, but I was wrong. The real reason why Teppei came here was because it was their plan. Oh, their plan to... Yeah, for the ex-boyfriend to come, right? He didn't actually try to look for her. It was the last stage of their badger game. Rina was probably supposed to be in bed with my father at that time of night. Teppei must have wanted to show up and catch them sleeping together. So Teppei looked around the house, but he couldn't find Rina. It didn't change the plan though. He grabbed my father by his collar and started yelling threats. He showed my father a certificate of marriage to Rina and shouted at him saying, "You got my wife pregnant, how are you gonna take responsibility?" My father had no idea she was married, so he looked shocked. My father's a short guy who is faint of heart. He just let Teppei do and say whatever he wanted from beginning to end. I looked at them from a distance coldly. The more Teppei yelled and threatened my father, the faster he'd wake up from his bad dream. This was medicine for him. Teppei was cutting out the cancer that I was going to depend on time to do. What? Cut out the cancer that I was going to depend on time to do. And he was doing a great job at it. I waited to help my father until I was sure that he'd finally awakened from his bad dream. I told Teppei that I had something very important to tell him and took him outside. Okay, next guess. Rena is gonna kill him as well. She's gonna bring him to the dump and is gonna kill him.
重要な話っちゅんは。リナさんって昨日以来沖宮に帰ってますか？
ん？
実はリナさん事情があって隠れてるんです。
あ？どういうこっちゃ？
リナさんから哲平さんが来たら連れてきてほしいと言われてるんです。
あ？律子のやつどうしたんね
Teppei followed me without hesitation. We walk in the dark with a flashlight to the place where nobody comes and nobody can hear us, the place forgotten. He asked me many things on the way, but I couldn't answer any of them. I just told him to ask Rina. The way I said it seemed to make him think that Rina was going to betray him and get married to my father for real. Even though he was breathing heavily in rage, he walked right behind me without any suspicion. I knew this day was going to come very soon, so I was well prepared for it. We reached the place where I originally planned to bring him, and I turned off the flashlight all of a sudden.
どうしたんね
Everyone gets nervous when the only light in the dark goes off. But this is my territory. I didn't need any light. I could feel my surroundings even better with my eyes closed. I grabbed the big hatchet. I'd hidden in a bush and lifted up high.
ごめんなさい。電池の接触不良かな。ちょっと待ってくださいね。
ああ、はよせんとね。
I purposely sounded weak and helpless while I raised the hatchet into the air.
ああ、ライターあるわ。出すんね。
Teppei found a lighter in his pocket and lit it up. He probably couldn't understand the sight illuminated by the small light. He saw a girl lifting a big hatchet right in front of him.
Huh?
And then thwack. Teppei's eyes went wide. He didn't understand what was going on, but he understood his life was in danger. And yet, he must have not been able to think fast enough to deal with it, even though he understood what he should do. Even if he could think fast enough and blocked his head with his arms, it wouldn't have meant anything. I knew Teppei would come to my house eventually. That's why I prepared for that day. I just didn't think that the preparation was going to bear fruit tonight. So I chose my weapon very carefully. I planned when and where and how I was going to attack him. And so there can only be one result. Instant. It was a hatchet, yeah. The hatchet cut deeply into his forehead. If Rena used a metal pipe, Teppei could have fought back. He's a guy, he's a big guy, so this was her only chance. And she did it. One strike. I felt an indescribable vibration through the hatchet when it hit him, and this told me that I broke his skull. He bragged about how good he was at fighting at the coffee house, but he sure went down quickly when he faced with a murderous weapon. He was done in by a single blow. So Teppei slowly fell to his side with a hatchet in his forehead. He looked like a victim in a B-movie. I killed this big guy with just one hatchet. He was probably quite experienced in the world of violence. I mean, because yeah, surprise attack, right? And he didn't know what was happening. This little girl, it's not like you're just gonna strike him there. His hesitation killed him, basically. I suppose, right? But Rena planned this all out, did it, and she got both of them in a span of how many days? 2 days, right? Damn. But I was better than him when it came to killing. Why? Because I've killed someone before. Yeah, she already did Rena, so she didn't have any hesitation now. It's all done now. The bad people who deceived my father and tried to rob him blind are all gone. I did what I had to do in order to protect my life. If I had this much courage and determination when my mom told me about the divorce, I might have killed Akihito. How old were you back then when that happened? You can't do that. If I did, I would have taken the life of only one. Because I couldn't do it back then, I've had to kill 2 people in the last 2 days. Rena. Let's finish it up. There's already a place to hide his body. I took care of everything. So my hands were wet, so I shone the flashlight at them. I thought it was blood, but it was just sweat. Even so, I still felt uncomfortable and shone the flashlight in my hands several times. I did all this in order to be happy. I did all this so I should be happy now. I tried so hard that I got blood on my hands. I wanted to get credit for that from him. Oyashiro-sama, let me ask you a question. I can finally rewind the time back to the day everything started to go wrong, can't I? I'm going to stay in Hinamizawa. I'm going to live happily with my father forever. It's morning now. Like nothing happened. It's rare to see Rena sleep in class. She isn't the kind of girl who sleeps in class because of staying up so late. She had to be tired from doing housework or something. So everybody seemed to be thinking the same thing, so nobody tried to wake her up, not even Chie-sensei. She got up for a few seconds and went back to sleep. She swayed back and forth like she was rowing a boat. But she's in class, so should I wake her up? I was about to wake her up, but before my hand touched her, Mion gave me a sign not to.
寝かせてあげなよ。たまにはそういう日もあるよ。
うん。それもそうだな。
I heard a few days ago that Rena lives with her father. She studies during the day, plays a lot after school, and does things around the house after that. I didn't know that. I also didn't know her mother had divorced her father. Mion told me that, and she also told me not to talk about it because Rena is still hurt by the divorce.
そんな苦労をしてるなんて、全然気づきもしなかったぜ。
レナはそういうのを表に出さないタイプだよね。ひょっとすると、普段陽気に振る舞っているのも、そういう風に意識して振る舞っているからかもね。
Rena told me that happy days will one day come to an end. She told me she knew that firsthand, so what could she have been true? I had no idea. That is probably why she tried to spend as much time as peacefully and cheerfully as she could. I must have hurt her feelings when I said I was bored of having happy days. Okechi actually acknowledges that. When I thought about it, I felt bad for living off my parents, who were both healthy and happy. For that matter, Satoko and Rika-chan lost their parents too. Mion lives with her grandma away from her parents because she needs to learn to be the head of the Sonozaki family in the future. When I realized all that, I felt bad about my situation.
別にケイちゃんが両親と生活してることを申し訳なく思うことはないよ。
Mion seemed to have read my mind. She said it with a cool expression on her face.
確かに家族ってのは、生まれてきた子供である私たちにとって、一番最初のコミュニティなんだと思う。でもね、コミュニティは家族だけじゃないんだよ。
仲間か？
わかってるじゃん。
俺たちはレナにとって家族に負けないくらいの存在なんだろうか。
掃除洗濯、炊事に買い物。それに疲れて昼寝だけして過ごすことだってレナにはできるんだよ。でもレナはそれをしない。放課後の時間いっぱいを私たちと部活をして過ごす。それはつまり、なんて言えばいいのかな。そう、仲間ってことなんだよ。
レナにとっては家族と同じくらいの意味のある仲間ってことなのか？
Mion looked stunned, as if she didn't understand what I was talking about.
ああ、ケイちゃんが今日まで仲間って言葉をどういう意味で使ってきたか知らないけどさ、仲間ってのは家族と全く同格じゃないのかな。
難しく考えることではないのですよ。
Rika-chan joined our conversation.
居場所があればいいのです。
The power of friendship.
それがある場所、家族と言ったり、仲間と言ったり、呼び方が少し変わるだけのことなのですよ。
リカちゃんにとって家族と仲間は同じものか？
僕はそうだと思っていますです。サトコもミーも、そしてレナもそうだと思いますですよ。
だから私たちはいつも一緒にいようとするんじゃないかな。
リカちゃんはみんなといると寂しくないか？
みんなは家族なのです。寂しくなんかないのですよ。
Mion nodded in agreement. Satoko was talking with her other classmates, but I'm sure she would nod as well. Rena would too.
俺、ちょっと恥ずかしいよ。今日まで俺、仲間って言葉を使ってきたけどさ、本当の意味で理解してなかったと思う。仲間ってのは、もっともっと大切で、かけがえのないすげえもんなんだよな。
それすっごく当たり前のことだからさ。 もし今日まで分かってなかったなら、よく胸に刻んだ方がいいよ。
そうだな。そうするぜ。
あと、それを二度と口にしない方がいいかもだね。今ケイちゃんかなり恥ずかしいこと言ってたと思うよ。
After all that, Mion still made fun of me. I think I understand a little better why Rena was always so serious about having fun. I want to be her best friend and I want to do my best to be deserving of her effort.
ふう。
Rena snored and it sounded cute. Chie-sensei let her sleep in class, but she couldn't let her get away with snoring.
委員長、竜宮さんを起こしてください。レーナ、ほらほら。
わ
Rena was still half asleep and made a strange noise, so everybody in class laughed. Rena noticed they were laughing at her, woke up right away and acted like she wasn't sleeping at all. It looked really funny and I burst into a fit of laughter. Outside the window, the sky was blue and the clouds were pure. It was still June, but it looked like the middle of the summer. This was perfect weather, or this perfect weather wouldn't last forever. It could get cloudy and rainy all of a sudden. That's why we had to play and raise a ruckus while we still had this perfect weather. The cries of the cicadas sound as if they're laughing at us because we still have some classes left. Damn it, I can't wait for school to finish.
どうしたんだろう。ケイチくんすっごく嬉しそうだね。今日は何かあるの？
別に今日何かあるわけじゃないぜ。今日は今日だし、明日は明日だろ。今日が晴れてるならそれで十分。明日の天気なんか知ったこっちゃないってことさ。だから今日という日を俺は精一杯遊び倒したい。いつ天気が崩れたって後悔しないくらいに徹底的にな。
I learned that from Rena. I learned that peaceful days are the happiest days you can have and they're irreplaceable. Irreplaceable.
ミオ、今日の部活はなんだ？それに最近罰ゲームがちょいと刺激不足だぜ。
言うね、ケイちゃん。そこまで言うなら今日の放課後には生き地獄ってやつを拝ましてあげるよ。
ケイチくん、あんまりみーちゃんを挑発しちゃダメだよ。
おいおい、臆すのかよ、レナ。上等じゃないかよ。また俺たちの実力で大暴れしてやろうぜ。俺とレナの決着だってまだまだついちゃいないんだからな。
I grinned at her and she grinned back.
それもそうだね。よーし、レナも思いっきり頑張るぞ。レナさんには先日の借りがございますものね。きっちり倍返しさせていただきましてですわよ。
いいね、いいね。盛り上がってきたよ。
早く放課後になるといいのです。
I couldn't wait either, but the time we spend just talking together is also very precious.
そうだな。早く放課後になるといいな。
That was a nice calming part after the Rena thing earlier, right? It was nice, yes, very nice. My favorite wine Alright, let me check that. Favorite wine? Satoko went to join the children playing in the schoolyard. Since I didn't feel like going, I decided to stay home. Most likely, she wouldn't be back until evening. When Satoko wasn't around, I had ways of spending time without her. Besides, that was what I wanted to do anyway. I stuck my hand deep inside the pile of winter futons in the closet and pulled one out. Next, I filled a stylish looking glass with ice. The ice made in the freezer smelled of chlorine, though it didn't taste good. Store-bought ice would be the best, but since Satoko kept asking me what I was using it for, I stopped buying it. But it might be worth spending time to think about a good excuse for that if it meant I would be able to enjoy ice without ever again smelling the chlorine. I filled the glass with mineral water, then poured a little bit of another liquid into the glass. What? What are you doing? Watching the color mix into the transparent water was a very pleasant thing. This wasn't the right way to drink it, but I liked it that way and didn't want to hear any complaints. Dude, what is happening? This is Rika, right? My body is very convenient because I can get drunk with only a tiny amount. That's why I dilute that small amount with a full glass of water. And thanks to that, I can enjoy a single bottle for a long time. It wasn't bad if you thought about it like that. I put a cushion on my favorite spot by the window, and with a glass in one hand, I enjoyed the familiar view and the soft wind brushing through my hair. A slightly sweet ripened aroma tickled my nose. And just when I was about to start enjoying the atmosphere, the annoying one came back. The annoying one. She didn't like this bad habit of mine, and she complained every time I tilted the glass. She started nagging me noisily.
うるさいな。少しくらい我慢なさい。何を飲もうと食おうと、私の勝手でしょ。ダメなのです。その飲み物はあなたにはまだ早いのです。
Dude, who the hell is this? I thought it was gonna be Satoko. What? I tried to ignore her, but she started making a fuss as if trying to ruin the atmosphere on purpose. There was no way I could enjoy getting drunk like this. I glared at her and threw the drink out of the window.
なんで私が憂鬱か知りたい？私の死に方が決まったからよ。
It seems like she finally understood why I wanted to drown myself in alcohol.
そんなに落ち込まなくてもいいのよ。割と一瞬で死ねるから、そんなに怖くないわ。
My body will be burned and cut in pieces, but I'll be able to die instantly.
でも、またダメなのです。そうね。またダメね。これだと。 私の命日はいつだっけ？ 6月の25日の夜だと思いましたです。
25th? What day is it now?
綿流しの祭りが終わってから、だいたい1週間後か。
A week after Higurashi.
妥当なあたりね。やっぱり、僕のせいなのでしょうか。決まってるでしょ。 あんた自覚ないの？はう、はう。
You're saying how as well? What? She was the one who asked me, yet she cried when I told her she was right. Jeez, she's always so annoying.
頑張りましょう。次のすごろくではきっと、6が立て続けに出てくれることもあるわよ。
June 25th. I still had 10 more days. I was going to relax and enjoy those 10 days. I still had some wine left too. Dude. I was gonna talk about Rena? But what the hell is this? What is this? Who is that? Like when we were doing the third, oh no, the third chapter, the last chapter, chapter 5, Miyakashi, right? That older Rika? It's hard now. I don't know what to I don't want to theorize now. I was thinking that that older Rika, like something is possessing that Rika, right? And she's being older. And maybe that is Hanyu, right? Because she mentioned that name Hanyu, like she was calling it, right? And then afterwards when Shion was what do you call this, gonna do something to her, I think I forgot the exact thing that was happening at the moment there. Then yeah, she talked differently. She talked in her much mature voice, right? She changed. Like the normal Rika and then changed to the older Rika. And then we have this now. I thought it was going to be Satoko. But it's not Satoko. Who is that? I thought she said the annoying one, right? Add more questions. Yet again, right? Yet again, add more questions. But in this episode today, for Rena, she dealt with the problem, right? She basically, she killed both of them. For Rina, it will eventually happen anyways. Like if she didn't kill Rina there, it would happen anyways because sooner or later Rena is gonna break and she's gonna kill Rina. Even for example, that didn't happen right in the dump there, but it did happen. Rina tried to take advantage. She tried to choke Rena, but she underestimated her and she lost and then she died. And then afterwards, the next day basically, Teppei Hojo next. Rena finished him as well. Both of them are gone. And maybe next episode, maybe we're gonna see the opening, right? When the opening, Rena was talking to, I think she was talking to the friends, right? But maybe we'll see that scene now. Maybe that's gonna be the scene for the next episode, right? We're gonna be arriving at that part, right? So we'll see. We'll see what Rena's friends are gonna say, right? But maybe they're just gonna be good though. They're just gonna be okay. Because they were talking about family earlier, right? You may call them friends, you may call them family, you may call them whatever, or whatever you word it. They're still family, so yeah, they will help Rena for sure. But I don't know, man. I don't know how this chapter is gonna end though. Yeah, like it's already over. Like Rina and Teppei is gone. What is gonna be the ending for this chapter? Like in Miyakashi, it was clear that it was gonna be, yeah, the Shion part, right? Tatarigoroshi, what was ending Tatarigoroshi? The Teppei one, Kiichi did it, right? And then afterwards, he got paranoid and stuff. Teppei was not on the place where he buried him, right? And then at the ending there, everyone died basically. Maybe that's gonna happen as well in this chapter. Because Rena was talking about some destroyed Earth, destroyed Hinamizawa, something like that. So maybe that's gonna be the ending in this chapter as well, right? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. So yes, we're gonna concede this and do more of Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 6, Tsumihoroboshi in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.